organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up tonight on Daily Iowan TV.
And as you can tell, snow continues to fall here in Iowa City. I'll have your extended forecast coming up.
It's hard to go to somewhere and be immersed in a different culture and a different mindset and then come back.
Roaming historic streets, picking up a foreign language, then having to come home. How some UI students struggle to readjust after a semester abroad.
And in sports, see which Hawkeye sports came out on top this weekend.
Daily Iowan TV starts now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us on this snow-filled evening. I'm Cole Johnson.
And I'm Tanner Sigworth.
Our top story tonight is the winter storm paralyzing much of Iowa City. Last week we watched as the East Coast took on heaps of snow, and this week it's our turn. Overnight, Winter Storm Linus dumped around 6 inches on eastern Iowa. 480 plows were sent out today to take on the pileup. Even so, the Iowa Department of Transportation advised not traveling on many of the area's main roads and interstates, including I-380 in both directions. A 48-hour snow emergency has been declared from tomorrow at 8 a.m. to Wednesday at 8 a.m. That means parking on only one side of the street, even on even dates, odd on odd dates. Mitch will have more of that and what to expect later this week.
University police are asking for the public's help in identifying the individuals responsible for robbing several campus dorm rooms overnight. During the late hours of Saturday and into the early hours of Sunday, police received multiple reports from both Quadrangle and Hillcrest residence halls. Suspects reportedly broke into unlocked dorm rooms. Some students were away at the time, others were sleeping. We reached out to University police to find out exactly how many dorms were affected and what was stolen, but they refused to comment. If you have any information, contact the University Police at 319-335-5022 or at police@uiowa.edu.
Last week we told you about the university's merger with Des Moines AIB College of Business, a move that will stretch the UI's campus to the west.
And now it seems like that merger isn't going as smoothly as university officials had hoped. Students gathered in protest on AIB's campus Friday to voice their concerns.
And it all started when confidential documents were leaked revealing AIB misled the public over the merger. The documents and meeting notes show that the merger has in fact been in the works for years and that AIB is financially unstable, with limited cash to fund programs. And the woes continue. AIB hasn't been able to recruit enough students to fill its campus. The college currently at around half of its enrollment capacity.
But the part that got students protesting were exposed plans to phase out the athletic program. Athletes wanted answers to why athletics was not upfront about cutting programs, while others wondered if the value of their diploma will decrease after AIB ceases to exist.
And we don't want to give them more of a reason to cut athletics. So doing this, we're showing our integrity.
Keep it here for more as that story develops.
And here in Iowa City, students returning to campus may find the transition from winter break to be a bit stressful. But what about students returning from an entirely different country? Daily Iowan TV's Frank Rotella tells us how former study abroad students struggle to adjust.
In 2012, 22% of Iowa's graduating class studied abroad at some point during their academic career. While it's no surprise students may find it hard to get used to a new country, some also find it hard to get used to coming home. UI sophomore Mackenzie Phillips went to Pondicherry, India over winter break to do some humanitarian work, and aside from jet lag, she says she's felt some culture shock upon returning stateside.
It's hard to go to somewhere and be immersed in a different culture and a different mindset and then come back. It makes you reflect on your own a lot more. In India, everybody's very spiritual and into self-reflection and meditation. So after going there, it really opened my eyes to change.
UI junior Emily Brom-Stecker spent last semester in Guanajuato, Mexico studying Spanish. She says that upon returning home, it was the little things that were different.
Using tap water was really weird because no one uses tap water in Mexico. So I was like, oh, where's the water bottle in this house? My mom was like, just get it from a tap.
Phillips says the friendships she formed while in India eclipse any of the stresses of coming home.
With 24 kids, I had no idea and made so many friendships within those 24 kids that are all students at the university. So
The University of Iowa's International Programs Office offers support for students returning from abroad, including returnee events like Study Abroad Trivia Nights. Reporting from Iowa City, Frank Rotella, Daily Iowan TV.
It takes a lot to dance for 24 hours straight. Selena Carr brings us the story of one family that keeps dance marathon dancers going.
It's the words this family never expected to hear.
They told us that night that it was biphenotypic acute leukemia.
A cancer diagnosis for Johan and Carrie Smith's 5-year-old son, Simeon Smith.
Getting the diagnosis, you have some level of hope, or but then once they dump all these extra things on, it's like, how are you gonna get past all of this?
The 2006 diagnosis meant spending less time together at home and constantly being by Simeon's side at the UI Children's Hospital.
I went from almost nobody at my house to being at the hospital where there's hundreds or thousands of people.
Simeon endured chemotherapy for 2.5 years to kill cancer, and though the fight with cancer was tough, the Smiths took the process head on.
Be sad about things, we decided to be happy about things and tackle it head on with a positive attitude.
Support from relatives, friends, and groups like Dance Marathon made the stay at the hospital easier.
When people from Dance Marathon would come in, because they would play with the kids, and the kids always loved playing with the college kids, and it was nice too because it gave us a chance to get out of the room and walk around the hospital or go down and grab a bite to eat.
But Simeon's visit to the hospital wouldn't last long. He embarked on a new journey away from cancer's destruction, becoming a cancer survivor. January 10th, 2015 marks 5 years since the now 13-year-old's last chemo treatment.
I'm off treatment. I can do practically whatever I want because I'm just like a normal kid like everybody else at my school.
This Saturday, Simeon will graduate at the Dance Marathon event as a symbol of his 5-year mark.
But seeing him graduate and walk across the stage with his cap and gown and, the big celebration is that he won, that he conquered, and cancer lost.
Reporting from Iowa City, Selena Carr, Daily Iowan TV.
Thanks for that, Selena. That truly is an incredible story, an amazing journey for Simeon and his family.
We'll be bringing you stories of Dance Marathon families throughout the week here at Daily Iowan TV. Tune in tomorrow night to meet Mariah Haveman, a 5-year-old with a big family and an even bigger personality.
Cole, I don't know what else to say. The snow today was kind of nuts.
I know, it was terrible. I had to walk all the way here, and it was a little bit chilly for my taste.
I should have gave you a ride. You should just let me know next time.
Yes, definitely. We're going to toss it over to Mitch in the weather studio. Mitch, what's it like out there?
Well, guys, it's still pretty bad, and after a quick break tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday will bring even more snow. That 48-hour snow emergency is set to begin tomorrow morning, so make sure your cars are parked accordingly. Clear skies tomorrow with temps digging slightly below 0 in the morning, and things don't look to warm up much as tomorrow rolls on. 3 degrees in the afternoon, 9 degrees in the evening, and the rest of the week looks somewhat bearable with temperatures staying within the 20s. After all that snow, Friday and Saturday look to be fairly overcast. It looks like February is showing us what Iowa weather is all about. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Mitch. Now here's one for you. What do toothbrushes, the Super Bowl, and the University of Iowa have in common? About 30 seconds, it turns out. For the second year, the UI's College of Dentistry took a stab at a highly coveted ad spot during the most watched night of network television, the Super Bowl. You might remember the Hawkeye football team scrubbing their pearly whites in last year's spot. This year's champion wrestler and Iowa Male Student Athlete of the Year, Tony Ramos, schools a foe on how to take down his dental problems for a decent price at the UI's dental clinics.
Well, tonight, thousands took over University of Phoenix Stadium in Arizona to cheer on their favorite pro team in the game of the year. But here in Iowa City, we had plenty of sports action of our own.
We'll send it over to Taylor Brooks in the sports studio.
A cold and blustery night here in Iowa City, but the weather didn't stop any Iowa athletics this weekend. Flying solo tonight in the Daily Iowan TV Sports Studio, I'm Taylor Brooks. Saturday, the Wisconsin Badgers were able to make a sweep of the Hawkeyes, defeating them once again, but this time on Iowa territory. Daily Iowan TV sports reporter Whitney Blakemore has more on how the Hawks' offensive production wasn't enough to stop the number 5 team in the nation.
On Saturday against Wisconsin, the Hawks were shooting at 64% in the first half. The Badgers, while still impressive, only at 53%. But yet the Hawks were still down by 6 going into the break. The difference? Rebounds.
The 82-50 loss just over 2 weeks ago to Wisconsin stemmed some urgency into the Iowa Hawkeyes heading into their rematch. They shot 16 for 25 and just missed 1 out of their 4 3-point attempts. But shooting one of their best percentages of the season wasn't enough to come out on top.
I think if you're going to look at one thing that really was a difference in the game, it was offensive rebound. They get 15. Their efficiency at scoring on second shot opportunities is probably the best in the country.
Wisconsin's offensive glass allowed them to produce 16 second chance points, compared to Iowa's 7, something Wisconsin's head coach Bo Ryan felt was key to their success on the court.
Second chance, we outscore them by 9. It's 11-point final. Pretty huge. I thought we did a real good job of getting in position to get some second chances.
While Iowa wasn't able to grab some off the board on their own end, their lack of offense coming back from the break contributed to their loss as well. 4 minutes into the second, Wisconsin missed on 5 straight possessions, but Iowa couldn't capitalize on the opportunity, hitting a dry spell as well and shooting at just 34% in the second.
That was definitely our opportunity to make a run. Finally got a few stops and finished it with getting the rebounds, and we just weren't able to, put consecutive, scoring drives together.
It was the Hawkeyes' inability to close the gap that forced them to drop their 3rd straight loss and leave them winless against the Badgers this season. Now the Hawkeyes get a little bit of a break before they head up to Ann Arbor on Thursday to take on Michigan. Inside Carver Hawkeye Arena, Whitney Blakemore, Daily Iowan TV Sports.
Despite the basketball loss, it was a different story for Iowa wrestling. The Iowa wrestling team went up north to Minneapolis, Minnesota to take on the Gophers in the Border Brawl. The trip was worth it for Hawkeye fans as they took home the victory. Wrestling reporter Chelsea Brown was at the barn Friday and has more from Williams Arena. Chelsea?
The Minnesota Golden Gophers proved to be one of Iowa's toughest competitors on their schedule this Friday. But for the Hawkeyes, they started off quick, capturing 3 consecutive bout wins, starting at the 165-pound weight class. Nick Moore was the boost the Hawkeyes needed when he put up 6 for Iowa, pinning Minnesota's Brandon Kingsley in the second period.
Definitely in a hostile, violent environment, you get a guy who goes out and puts 6 on the board and shuts him up real quick.
More upset went to the Gophers when Mike Evans earned a takedown in overtime to win 3-1 against number 4 ranked Logan Storley. Evans had only beaten Storley once before in his career.
You get put down, it's 2, that's it. It's over, especially in overtime. If he scrambles out of that in regulation, then, you're looking at points for him. But overtime, that's it.
Sammy Brooks at 184 followed with a win, and 3 matches in, and the Hawkeyes were up 12-0. And after another 3 matches, that lead grew 20-3, thanks in large part to Thomas Gilman's technical fall over Ethan Lezak.
We did some good things where, you're, what I would say, you're overcoming some barriers or hurdles there, or maybe big match wins. And then you got to like Gilman. You got to like that.
It was too little too late when Minnesota answered, winning 3 of the last 4 bouts. And even the Minnesota favorite and 3-time All-American at 157, Dylan Ness, looked uneasy against Iowa's Michael Kelly.
When you talk about the win, you think about the last thing that happened, and we had a good wrestler on the ropes there, and we need to finish those situations, and Mike Kelly needs to do that. It's going to define his career.
Kelly was unable to capture the win against Ness with a final point score of 11-9. The Hawkeyes did, however, capture a victory over the Gophers with 23-12 and still maintain their undefeated record, now at 11-0. Reporting inside Williams Arena, I'm Chelsea Brown for Daily Iowan TV Sports.
We are out of time tonight for this Sunday sports edition of Daily Iowan TV, but tune into tomorrow's program edition where our Whip Around crew is back and ready to catch you up on track and field, men's swimming and diving, and women's gymnastics from over the weekend. Tanner and Cole, I hear you two want to take a stab at being sports reporters.
That's right, Taylor.
It's Super Bowl weekend, but more importantly for some, it's time for the Puppy and Kitten Bowl.
This year, Team Rough faced off against Team Fluff, and over at the Kitten Bowl, 4 more teams of 4-legged players went head-to-head. Not much football actually gets played, but it sure is adorable to watch. Animal Planet puts on the show each year as a nod to the main event. There's even a referee.
If the main goal of those games is to maximize cuteness, well, then I think they're doing a pretty good job.
That's all for tonight. Stay up with Daily Iowan TV online at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for watching, and have a good night.